How do we instill Chassidishe pride in our children?
The short answer to the question is to be proud ourselves. You know, the Rebbe would often use the expression v'neflinu. V'neflinu means we're separated, we're different. The term v'neflinu appears in Chumash, where Moshe Rabbeinu was negotiating with Hashem after the Jewish people made the golden calf. And he sees that it's an Eis Ratzon. He sees that the Eibishter is very, very favorably disposed. So he pushes the envelope. He keeps asking for more and more. And of course, the end of that whole sequence is where he says, where Moshe Rabbeinu says to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I want to see you, in quotations. But one of the requests that Moshe Rabbeinu makes in that sequence is, we want to be separate from non-Jews. The way Rashi understands it is that after this request, by Goyim, there no longer was Nevi'im, prophets, only by Yidden. Until then, there were Nevi'im by non-Jews as well, and the request of Neflinu took away prophets from other people. But the meaning of the word Neflinu is we should be separated. But there's something very, very important about the word V'neflinu, because V'neflinu doesn't only mean to be separated. And I'll give you an example. In Parshas Shvo'era, you have the description, I think, of Makas Borod, one of the 10 plagues, hail, where the Eibishter says that he's going to separate the Jewish people from the Egyptians within Mitzrayim itself. And I think he used Lashon v'hifleisi, the same Chassidishe. V'neflinu does not have an aleph, but the Chassidishe of the word is pele, to be wondrous, to be distinct. So the concept of an neflinu means to be separated from everybody else. But there's something very critical about that. V'neflinu doesn't only mean we're on one side of the fence and we're on the other side of the fence. Because if v'neflinu means that we're separated from everybody else because we're on one side of the fence, and then the other side of the fence, you have three things. You have us, everybody else, and the fence. V'neflinu means that Hashem does something to the Jewish people that there's no need for a fence. That the way they are, they're naturally separated from everybody else. V'ifleisi, Vayemahu, as Eretz Goshen, doesn't mean that Hashem is going to put up a wall. And a Jew and an Egyptian live next door. They can live in a duplex. Because the V'neflinu is not a technical division. Jews are here and non-Jews are here. Or Chassidim are here and people who are not following the ways of Chassidus are someplace else. But that there's something that lifts up a Yid. And this is really the point. So many of our children grow up with the feeling that being a Chassid means that they're not allowed to have this, that, or the other. They're deprived. In other words, being a Chassid and being a Haredi and being Lifnei Mishudas Adin means that they're missing out on things. That's wrong. And it doesn't work. It may work for a short time for children who are going through crisis, but you cannot raise your children like that. You need to raise your children to understand the value of what separates them. Not what they're losing, but what they're gaining. Because that's what the word v'neflinu connotes. V'neflinu doesn't connote means I can't have this. V'neflinu means I have something else which raises me above that. And this is what's lost on a lot of us. And it's lost on a lot of us because it's not the children who are suffering from this, it's the parents. You have too many chassidim who don't understand what chassidus is. And they may have forgotten what is it about chassidus that they themselves cherish. Chassidus is not just that you dress a certain way and eat certain foods or use a certain hechsher or use a certain siddur. Chassidus is an inspiration. And the inspiration of Chassidus lifts a person up. Ultimately, this inspiration is the personality of the Rebbe. But having a picture of the Rebbe on our wall doesn't qualify. Having the Rebbe in our mind and our heart in a way that not just tells us what to do, but warms our heart and inspires our mind with an appreciation and a love for why we are this way, creates the pride in a chassid. A chassid has to know what Chassidus is. Chassidus is a way of life that's defined by the four ideas that you have in Yonash Teres Chassidus, including the idea of Lifnim Yishur Zadin, being extra from, working on character, knowing godliness intellectually, and so forth. But at the heart of Chassidus is soul. The heart of Chassidus is neshama. People like to say that Chassidus is heart. I don't agree. Chassidus is not heart. Chassidus is soul. Chassidus is faith. Chassidus is joy. Chassidus is tapping into the inner Jew and being enriched by that inner Jew. If a chassid experiences chassidus, he's self-separated from non-chassidim. There doesn't be a wall. If a chassid is a chassid by name alone, if a chassid is a chassid by outfit alone, and unfortunately, as we all know, the outfits are getting shorter and shorter, because the oir, the chayis, the neshama of what chassidus is forgotten, what's there to be proud of? What's there to be proud of? That I can't have this, that I can't have that? Why not? So I think, like I said, the opening statement I made is true. If we want our Chassidim to be proud, we have to be proud. But it can't be arrogant pride. It can't be a condescending pride. It can't be, I'm better than you because I smell from Gaivan Yeshes. It's a pride that comes from what Chassidus is. And yes, ultimately, a Chassid has one definition, that he has a connection to the Rebbe. But it's what the Rebbe stands for, what the Rebbe teaches, what the Rebbe inspires. When a Chassid is alive with faith, and with joy, and with humility, and with service, that's the energy of Chassidus. And it self-separates, without offense, a Chassid from a non-Chassid. If the spirit of Chassidus is lost, it's impossible to give our children pride because we don't have a pride ourselves.